You know, I think Final Fantasy 16 is a good game. Sometimes it's even a great game. You have these massive, giant kaiju battles and these sick, nasty, cool looking characters. I mean, look at this guy. Like, he's freaking cool. Also, the gameplay is, like, pretty fun for, like, 5 hours. And that's something, I guess. But, man, they're like. Some things about the story just got me scratching my head, like.
Oh no, this can't be.
I think the intro is amazing, and the first 5 to 8 hours are some of the best writing we've had in a Final Fantasy game. The beginning is set up for this revenge-fueled quest in which Clive seeks his brother's murderer. But the early on twist is that Clive was the one to kill his brother and friends. The penultimate climax of the first act is this amazing moment where Clive comes to terms with killing his brother. It's this Freudian battle within himself, which sets him on a better path for redemption. Clive's original motivation for destroying the Mother Crystals, the plot of the game, is because he seeks atonement for killing his brother. You see that scene between Clive and Sid where he comes to terms with what he's done, and then Sid tells him, okay, you seeking atonement? Okay, this is the path you've chosen for yourself, to make up for what you have done. Joshua actually being alive retroactively ruins this badass scene of Clive taking accountability for his actions at Phoenix Gate. Even though it wasn't his fault that he primed in the first place, but details. When Joshua does come back, it feels like they don't even take that much time to put emphasis on him. Joshua and Clive hold hands and cry for about 30 seconds, and then it's back to business as usual. It's like the story doesn't even care about him being alive all that much. After 18 some years of thinking his brother is dead, we never get to see a heart-to-heart of Clive and Joshua just talking, or even explaining what the fuck he was doing this entire time. Like, where was he? Don't you think it would be advantageous for Joshua to let Clive know he's alive, and to tell him about Ultima beforehand, before Clive starts having these brain spasms every time he gets nearest to him? But that would mean actually taking time to think about the situation for more than 5 minutes. And logic doesn't apply when dealing with Joshua. He just seems out of place. Like, I have a theory that the writers didn't originally intend for Joshua to be alive early on in the script. The writing clearly seems to think so, and goes in that direction for the first third of the game. But for the rest of the game, the last 2/3, it feels like he's just a shoehorn. His scenes don't serve a purpose that couldn't be filled by any other character, and some of his most important scenes are just weird. Like, they feel like they don't make sense. Like, the scene when Joshua punches Clive. Now, the scene is supposed to be super deep and emotional, but it just falls flat. I mean, I've read enough Reddit posts to explain why I should feel how impactful this scene is, but it just doesn't work for me. The acting feels not so much shoehorned, but that's largely due because the voice acting is just so amazing across the board. But uninspired, I guess? Maybe it just feels like it has no weight. It does get resolved immediately, so I don't know. Tell me in the comments if I'm just being retarded on this one. Or what about the scene right after where Joshua leaves the party because he sees an old castle and says, yeah, that probably has Ultima lore in it, without any other evidence to base his search on than just old building. Ugh. And Clive just accepts it without question. Joshua does, of course, find information on Ultima in the castle because plot, but it's bad writing, and you feel it. It doesn't help either that Joshua is only really prevalent towards the third act of the game, where the story really starts to take a piss. That's largely due to Ultima, which is the other shitty part about the game, but details. You know, it's funny, Joshua's main contribution to the story is about his search for Ultima. Coincidence? Two of the worst parts of the story are not intrinsically linked. Interesting. Let that segue to the actual worst part of the game, Mr. Mads Mikkelsen himself. This is probably the most uninspired villain in an RPG yet. I get the whole kill God trope in video games, but come on, you could have done better than this. A deadpan, boring alien guy that appears halfway through the game. I couldn't tell you how far back my eyes rolled when he started talking about severing consciousness and will, and making Clive his perfect vessel or whatever. That was when the real melancholy took over. At that moment I knew my king would never sit the throne of main villain. Recent Final Fantasy villains haven't been the best, but they know they could have done more. At least those villains have something interesting about them. Ultima has nothing interesting about him, and that somehow makes him worse than the former. He was fine for the story, I guess, and he served his purpose, but I love me a good villain, and this just ain't it, Chief. I just really wish Barnabas was the main villain. Or this child would have been better. Anyway, sorry for this rant on Joshua. He's not completely terrible. I mean, his design is cool, and I like his voice.
My lady.
So, not all bad. As he was in the introduction, I think he was great, and played off really well with Clive as a child. It's only after he comes back that I start to hate him. Joshua being alive almost ruins the story, but only almost. Other parts still hit hard despite his presence in the narrative.
Look at me, Joshua. Open your eyes.
But I can never forgive him for ruining my favorite scene in the game. Again, I think Final Fantasy XVI is a good game, but I always have these gripes in my head that I can't stop thinking about. Either it be with the story or the gameplay, or the fucking purple sky. Some things just aren't perfect. But what really is? Oh yeah, I got a new mic.